Coming up, shocking new video of a deadly shooting in the middle of the day outside one Atlanta restaurant. And officials in one Metro Atlanta school district are re-examining how it teaches sex education, why some parents are not on board.
Tracking severe weather just to our west right now, and this system is moving our way. I'll let you know when the rain arrives here and if we'll have any severe weather threats.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. starts now.
First at 11, we are getting a new look tonight at a deadly shooting in southeast Atlanta.
The tragedy unfolding in the middle of the afternoon along a very busy stretch of road. The victim's family identifying him as 22-year-old Lenoris McFadden from Lithonia. He was one of 5 siblings. 11 Alive's Cody Alcorn is live for us this evening outside the restaurant on Hill Street where the shooting took place. And Cody, you actually have 2 different videos here of this incident.
Jennifer, I'm about to show you 2 completely different vantage points of this shooting, which happened right here behind me at American Deli. It's just after 3:40 on Thursday afternoon. You're looking from the Texaco station across Hill Street in southeast Atlanta at American Deli. You see 2 cars from the opposite direction pull into the parking lot at the same time. The light-colored one pulls in front of the restaurant. The dark-colored sedan backs into a side parking lot. And check this out, 20 seconds later, an Atlanta police officer drives by the restaurant unaware of what's about to go down. Next, you see at least 4 people between both cars get out and walk into American Deli. 13 seconds later, you see a person run out past the townhomes next door. Then you see another run out towards the front of the building. And then a third person running behind him. Again, this is the moment believed to be when the first shots are fired and the 3 take off running. In a second surveillance video from a Shell station next door to American Deli, you see a man run from the deli towards the Shell station filled with customers who have no idea what's happening. As the guy turns, you see a gun in his hand, and those around him soon realize what's going down. You then see him run towards Hill Street, heading back in the direction towards the deli, where witnesses say shots were fired. Back over at the Texaco station across the street, surveillance video captures the victim being shot. Now, we stopped the video before the victim, whose family identified him as Lenoris McFadden, collapses. On scene, you can see the aftermath, a shattered door at the deli, and then multiple evidence markers in the parking lot next door at the Shell station, marking several shell casings. But check out what you don't see within the crime scene tape. Remember, there were 2 cars which pulled in at the same time. And by the time police got on scene and roped off the parking lot, only the dark sedan is still there, backed in its spot. I'll tell you what, when you watch those 2 different videos, there could have been a lot more lives lost here. There were dozens of people around this area filling up with gas who took cover when those shots rang out. As of this hour, Atlanta police have not released any information on the shooter or more about that vehicle that's missing in that crime scene. Of course, we'll keep you updated as we learn more from Atlanta police.
And we have both of those surveillance videos online right now at 11alive.com. If you think you can help at all in this case, you're asked to please contact Atlanta Police.
All right, check this out. This was the scene earlier today in Fort Worth, Texas. Hail the size of golf balls pelting cars and homes there. It's part of the system that rolled through North Texas, across the southeast, and now those remnants are headed our way. Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb joining us now. So, Chris, will we have a chance to see any severe weather with these storms?
We're going to see the rain from it, but right now, based on what we're seeing, we think the severe weather threat with this system is going to stay more down along the Gulf Coast region. Right now, we are rain-free, but we're seeing some of the clouds that are thickening up and building in a little bit. Here's the leading edge of some of that rain in parts of northwest Alabama, also into western parts of Tennessee, northern parts of Mississippi, and then back further into Texas, moving into Arkansas and northwestern Louisiana. That's that line of severe storms where there's a tornado watch. Within that, this line here, we've had numerous severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings. There's one tornado warning there in effect just to the really near the Texas and Louisiana line. So the severe weather threat tonight stays out to our west, but the system is moving toward the east. But I want you to watch here, the yellow and green, that's the level 1 and 2 risk. Well, that shifts down toward the south. We're really thinking that the ingredients for severe weather weather will be more along the Gulf Coast region. We do see the level 1 risk come up toward LaGrange and Columbus, but we do not see a severe weather risk for us. We will have the rain, we'll have the potential for a little thunder and lightning, but nothing severe here. Then as the system moves out, it gets cold again for the weekend. We'll break it all down for you in the 7-day outlook.
We'll see you then. Thanks, Chris. All new tonight, a controversial sex education proposal for Gwinnett County schools is now on hold.
The school board decided tonight not to vote on the proposal yet. Our John Sherrick is there for us.
The Gwinnett County School Board decided unanimously and without discussion to delay voting on the proposed controversial new sex education curriculum for grades K through 12 that would cost $15 million to implement. Parents wanting the board to decide one way or the other, the new curriculum would teach children not just about abstinence, but also about topics such as consent, gender identity, sexual orientation, sexual abuse, and about sexual assault awareness. Parents Catherine Geary and Laura Waters say the proposed curriculum would go into subject matter too mature for children.
You know, it includes things like explicit demonstrations of condom use, encouraging labels such as asexual if a child is chosen not to become sexually active.
These are conversations that need to be had in the home, that parents are having these conversations with their children, not a stranger, not a teacher.
But parents in favor of the proposal say the current curriculum teaching abstinence portrays people who are sexually active as inherently bad, with language Teresa and Tony Bullard say that is problematic, such as
people that do not save themselves from marriage were described as a chewed up piece of gum.
Trust kids with the facts, they say.
The most effective thing to prevent teenage pregnancy and abortion is comprehensive sexual education.
So the debate will continue. The earliest the board could vote on the plan would be at the April meeting. In Gwinnett County, John Sherrick, 11 Alive News.
Today marked 2 years since a gunman walked into 3 different spas in Cherokee and Fulton counties and opened fire, killing 8 people. Today at the State House, the anniversary served as the backdrop for a proposed bill calling for more restrictions on how people store guns around children. One of those who came to the Capitol today made it a point to also lay flowers at the site of one of the shootings. For her, the attacks hit hard as 6 of those killed were of Asian descent.
I'm Korean American. These women were mostly Korean American here and also Chinese American among those who died. And so it really hit home. You know, that's why we remember. We're never going to forget.
The man arrested in the case, Robert Aaron Long, admitted to being the shooter. He pleaded guilty in his Cherokee County case and was sentenced to life without parole. Long pleaded not guilty in Fulton County, and District Attorney Fani Willis has previously said she intends to seek the death penalty. Well, if you take Georgia 400 as part of your commute, you're going to want to listen to this. Those rush hour flex lanes will soon be a thing of the past. Now, these are those extra lanes on the north and southbound sides between Pitts Road and Holcomb Bridge Road. The Georgia Department of Transportation will close them permanently tomorrow at 9 p.m. This comes as GDOT prepares to replace 3 bridges along the highway. Lawmakers at the State House are making another attempt to pass a bill to allow sports betting here in Georgia. Today, a Senate committee pushed through a plan that tacked on the legalization of online betting by early 2024 at the latest. And it does so without asking voters to amend the state constitution. It's the second try at passing sports betting during this legislative session. The House and Senate each failed to pass bills before the crossover day deadline. The newly amended bill will next go to the Senate for its consideration. If senators approve, the House will then have to agree to the plan.
With just a few days left now to fight for state funding, families are battling for more money to care for people with developmental disabilities. Investigator Rebecca Lindstrom tonight shows us the cost both to taxpayers and the families involved.
No, I don't want it, baby. Here, come here, Gabe. What are you trying to get her to put something on your phone for you?
Would you be okay backing up?
Come here, buddy. Come here, Mama. Come stand beside Mama.
What happens if you don't take it?
Here, shove it in your face until you do.
It's hard to carry a conversation with Gabe around. You can ignore movement and mumbling. But Gabe demands attention.
Have a charging cable. This is good. Come stand beside Mama.
Gabe was diagnosed with autism as a toddler. His mom, Erin, says the family had a routine to support his developmental disability, but they were not prepared when 5 years ago, a doctor diagnosed him with schizoaffective disorder.
It's like he just woke up and he was gone. It's like his impulse control is gone. I stopped at the gas station. He got out of the car and ran.
Georgia has what's called a service waiver to help families afford care for people like Gabe.
It'll pay for the day program. It will pay for nurses to come help take care of him. It should pay for behavioral health in the house. Supposedly it'll pay to fence in our yard because he's a runner.
But there's a cap on how many it can serve. Darcy Robb, the executive director of Georgia Council on Developmental Disabilities, says there are 7,000 people on that wait list. People like Gabe.
The question they've been asked, is the person currently homeless? So I think that gives you a sense of how bad things need to be before a person gets a waiver.
Lawmakers are debating whether to raise that cap, but the current proposal would still only help about 5% of those people. But waivers won't mean much if there are no workers to do the job. Right now, the pay for these support services is on average $10.63 an hour. According to the job site Indeed, you can make more with an entry-level job at a grocery store, fast food chain, or movie theater.
Do you feel trapped?
Oh, yes, of course.
Trapped because without treatment and in-home support, Erin had to quit her job. For a while, her husband lost his, and the other kids struggle with school. They worry each month how to make the mortgage. And for it all, Gabe is still not getting what he needs.
Well, what you see is him walking and talking, but what you don't see is him getting naked and kicking holes in the walls and running outdoors and screaming that there's aliens getting him. One day, last week, he cried all day, all day, like this uncontrollable.
And that is when Erin cries too.
I cry a lot, I do. And, I try not to do it in front of my kids, go to the bathroom and cry. So, but yeah, it's hard.
Investigator Rebecca Lindstrom reporting for us tonight. A study on wages led the state to recommend boosting pay for direct service providers by more than 40%, but a bump to $15 an hour would cost state taxpayers more than $90 million a year. Up next here on 11 Alive, an update on the legal case involving former Georgia football star Jalen Carter. Those details next.
And coming up later in sports, Kennesaw State is ready for March Madness. We'll check in with the Owls ahead of their NCAA tournament opener tomorrow.
Former UGA football star Jalen Carter pleaded no contest to traffic violations connected to a fatal crash in Athens back in January. This means Carter will avoid serving any jail time. The charges he faced stem from a car crash in January that claimed the lives of UGA football player Devin Willock, as well as recruiting staffer Chandler Lee Croy. Carter's attorney tells 11 Alive he was sentenced to 12 months probation, 80 hours of community service. He must also pay a $1,000 fine.
All this week, 11 Alive is making sure you get to know the 5 candidates looking to become the next sheriff of Clayton County. Tonight, John Sherritt continues our look at the candidates with a profile on retired Georgia State Trooper Dwayne Fabian.
Dwayne Fabian has no doubt why he is running for Clayton County Sheriff.
This is my calling. 31 years of law enforcement, my job is not completed. It is not done.
A career that began in the Savannah Police Department. And then Dwayne Fabian served more than 20 years as a Georgia State Patrol trooper, finally becoming a commander in Clayton County. After retirement, he's been active in his church and in community service organizations, ready to serve his neighbors now as Clayton County Sheriff.
I am here to fight the crime that is plaguing this community.
Starting, Fabian says, by restoring integrity to the Clayton County Sheriff's Office, beginning with a house cleaning at the jail, literally.
We're going to sweep that jail from front to back, top to bottom, remove any type of shanks, drug paraphernalia, cell phones, and get the jail back where it needs to be, under control. That goes for the employees, that goes for the detainees, because all of them have a right to be protected under my watch.
Fabian will also focus on reducing wasteful spending, then hiring more deputies and detention officers, and clearing the backlog of unserved criminal warrants.
We are going to go in with everything, with all forces, to get these criminals off the street for all the warrants that have been backlogged in the system. Restore law and order. That's going to be right out the gate.
A calling he says that he must fulfill.
And we will wrap up our series tomorrow night at 11, but you can find all of our profiles on all 5 candidates. They're available on our website, 11alive.com. Again, that election is on Tuesday. Here in Georgia, we have seen some pretty successful teams in the last few years, but there is one here in Atlanta you may not be familiar with.
Yeah, the Essential Step team at Atlanta's Ron Clark Academy is a 5-time national champion. Amid the movement and song comes a lesson in history as well for the students. 11 Alive's Dawn White joining us now with this Voices for Equality story. Dawn, these are some bright kids we're talking about.
Joe and Jennifer, they certainly are, and the Ron Clark Academy is known for its academics and sports, and now the stepping team is taking the nation by storm. They tell their story of their ancestors as well as the potential for their own future through beats, music, and dance. It may look like you're in a Harry Potter movie, but at the Ron Clark Academy, the floor is these students' castle.
At home, I'm always like just stepping around the house.
Amid the singing and intricate stepping, Miles Welch is making his presence known one step at a time.
I like expressing like attitude and sass and just different, your personality through body movement. It takes longer to learn, but that's a challenge that comes with step that you tend to enjoy.
Shoe to Ground has special significance for Carson Britton Manger.
I feel like I'm kind of carrying on a legacy that my ancestors kind of created in Johannesburg.
Our 8th graders have the opportunity to travel to South Africa, and the students had learned about the African gumboot dance, where the workers who were working in the gold mines were slapping and making beats and rhythms using their Wellington boots.
These students are learning important life lessons as they step into their future.
Discipline. It shows you that you have to keep, exercise up. You can't be lazy or you're going to be really winded by the time your routine ends.
Don't be scared. So I feel like STEP had kind of taught me to just be free and to try different things when it comes to anything.
Those young people have big aspirations for their future. Miles wants to become a neurosurgeon, and Carson wants to study theater.
We're getting a big step in doing that every single day. Dawn, thank you. Chilly start this morning, giving way to the warmest day of the week. Can you believe that? Chris back with us now. Chris, looks like we might be a little unlucky, though, with some rain on St. Patrick's Day.
We're going to be ending the week with some pretty soggy conditions here. We got up to 70 degrees for a high today with a lot of sunshine. And then during the late afternoon hours, the clouds started moving in a little bit more. They're thickening up out there right now. The rain is just to our west over into Alabama. More of that in parts of Tennessee, Mississippi, and then as you move over the Mississippi River into Arkansas, back into Texas, that's where we see the severe storms with a tornado watch, numerous severe thunderstorm warnings. We've even had a lot of tornado warnings in parts of East Texas tonight. This system is pushing our way, but the severe weather part of that is going to shift down to the Gulf Coast region. We will see some rain moving in, but we don't expect severe weather out of it. While you're sleeping tonight, mainly dry, clouds building in, temperatures falling into the 50s in the morning instead of the 30s that we've been dealing with for the past few mornings. But the rain arrives early tomorrow morning as well. And then once it gets here, it's going to stick with us for a big part of the day tomorrow, with high temperatures getting up to around 65 degrees. So on our scale from 1 to 11, where an 11 is a perfect day, we rate it where an 11 is a perfect 11 Alive day. We're going to go with a 5, a low of 51, high of 65, but a pretty good coverage of clouds and some of those showers. So getting out early tomorrow morning, it depends on when you're heading out to work and really where you live. That'll determine whether you have rain. 7 in the morning, northwest Georgia and West Georgia getting the rain. If you get out early here in the Atlanta area, it will be dry. But during the rush hour, that's when this rain is going to be pushing in, moving over to the east of us. And you can see it through the morning hours. Pushing over to the east, we'll see a pretty soggy morning here. At lunchtime, it is soggy. At 2 o'clock, even a band developing with some moderate to heavy rain. Again, we don't expect severe weather. There may be a rumble of thunder or a flash of lightning. Then that heavier rain goes to the east of us by 5 o'clock. We're still dealing with light rain here in Atlanta, but then there is the back edge of that rain shield. That moves down to the south of us during the evening hours on Friday. We will see a dry weekend, but look at those arrows coming out of the north. That's the colder air that moves in for the weekend, too. Many folks could pick up around an inch of rain during the day on Friday. Then Saturday, we're down to 38. Mix of sun and clouds at a high of only 52. Then freezing or even a little below freezing on Sunday. Freezing again on Monday with highs in the 50s. A low rain chance Tuesday. Then finally some warmer air coming in Wednesday in the 60s. Back to the 70s by next Thursday.
Coming up, how the Kennesaw State Owls feel about being the only men's team representing the state of Georgia in March Madness. Their answer and much more coming up next in sports. Welcome back, everybody, and welcome back March Madness. Kennesaw State will take the floor in just over 12 hours for their first ever NCAA tournament game. They're also just the only men's basketball team in the state of Georgia playing in the big dance, something that they're very proud of.
I think naturally, our competitive nature, man, you want to be the best team in your state. But at the end of the day, like, that wasn't our goal at the beginning of the season, to be the best team in Georgia. It's just something that happens over time and it just happened naturally. So, it's definitely pretty cool, but that's not the ultimate goal.
To the gridiron, the Falcons signed 4 new players to the roster on Thursday, including Collins Hill product Taylor Heineke, who will be making the short commute from his Flowery Branch home. He's here, the quarterback, after getting significant playing time in Washington last season, but knows his role this season is supporting Desmond Ridder as a backup.
They drafted him high last year for a reason. They believe in him for a reason. He showed some good film last year, and again, if something unfortunate happens to him, I'll be ready to go. That's kind of been my life the last 3 years. So, it's kind of the same territory.
Got a new contract for Hawks Bogdan Bogdanovic. ESPN reporting it's a 4-year extension worth $68 million. Bogdanovic is averaging 14 points a game this season with the Hawks. This is his 3rd season in Atlanta. Bogdanovic and the Hawks welcome in the Warriors to town tomorrow night. Golden State will be without Draymond Green, who's serving a suspension for technical fouls.
Don't go anywhere. We're back with the final look at your Friday forecast next.
Rain arriving early tomorrow morning. It is going to be a rather soggy day. We start off at 51, so not as cold as it has been. We get up to 65 in the afternoon, but look at the rain pretty much sticking with us through the afternoon hours. We do think it'll start tapering off during the evening hours. Then that sets the stage for a dry weekend, but that weekend is also going to be cold. A high of only 52 Saturday. We're below freezing Sunday morning, at freezing here on Monday morning with highs in the 50s. Another low risk for a shower Tuesday, then warming up Wednesday and Thursday. In fact, back to the 70s by Thursday afternoon.
Want to wish very much luck to our Kennesaw State Owls in their first March Madness game tomorrow.
Certainly an exciting time, and we will bring you all the action tomorrow, all day on 11 Alive. Thanks so much for being with us for 11 Alive News at 11. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 4:30. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is up next.